Hello and welcome to another episode of Inside the Boardroom. I'm your host, Mel Schaefer. Now, Northstar Clean Technologies is a Canadian clean tech company that focuses on the sustainable recovery and reprocessing of asphalt shingles, transforming discarded materials into valuable resources such as liquid asphalt, aggregates, and fiber. The company is committed to reducing landfill waste while driving innovation in the circular economy, with its first commercial facility located in Calgary, Alberta. Here with me today is Aidan Mills, President and CEO of Northstar. Thank you so much for joining us today, Aidan.
Hey, Mel, great to see you, and it's great to be here. Thank you.
Now, can you share the latest update on the commissioning of the Empower Calgary facility? What key milestones have been achieved, and what steps remain before the official launch?
Sure. So it's really exciting to be talking to you here today because, of course, we announced really recently that we've started commissioning on the Calgary facility. So to back up a little bit, the end of last year, we put the last major piece of equipment in the facility. And so through kind of January and February, it's been the interconnection of the pipes, the instruments, instrumentation and electrical. And so the good thing about that will be finished in the next few weeks here. But the good thing about that was we were able to fully construct the first half of the plant, the first section of the plant, and that's exactly what we've started commissioning already. So the brilliant thing from an investor perspective is we are grinding up asphalt shingles and putting them into the front end of the plant to commission the front end of the facility.
It's very interesting. And so then moving from Calgary into Ontario, and regarding the recently announced LOI with York One, could you go over the details of the alliance for our listeners and provide more insight into how this strategic alliance will benefit Northstar's growth?
Yeah, sure. So one of the most important things for us in 2025 is not only to obviously have the ruthless focus of delivering Calgary production, but also to develop the next number of sites. And that's our first US facility, our site in Vancouver, and our site in Hamilton in Ontario. And one of the key things always for these facilities is not only the offtake, the lease agreement for the land, but also the supply. And that's what the LOI with York One was for a supply of, up to 20,000 tons per year of shingles, collected by York One, either from manufacturers or from the local area and brought into the facility.
So you've got those two sites. Now, Northstar's focus on reprocessing waste asphalt shingles is innovative. What are the company's future expansion plans, and how do you envision scaling this technology across North America?
So again, as we said for 2025, one of the first things is demonstrating that the technology risk has gone away completely, because obviously we're going to commission the Calgary facility, and then so therefore the technical risk is gone. And so the challenge for us then is how fast can we roll these out? Our view has always been that we should be able to roll out, approximately between 3 and 5 plants per year ourselves organically. And then once the technology is well established after 3 or 4 plants, that we would be able to license the technology. And there's kind of 3 things that we look at with respect to that. So one is, if you look at the amount of shingles that are going into landfill across North America, that's over 16 million tons a year. So in theory, the market is big enough for Northstar to build 400 facilities across North America. Obviously that's a huge figure. And so the way that we're actually selecting the sites is based on what's the matrix of the asphalt price versus the tipping fee. And then the last criteria, which we've only really introduced, relatively recently, is can we run a facility both day shift and night shift and divert 80,000 tons away from local landfills to our facility, because that by far has got the highest economic return. And so those are the 3 key criteria that we're looking at cities across North America with respect to rolling out our plants.
So investors have definitely been interested in Northstar's performance. And I mean, the company is up 220% in 2024, and it gained recognition as one of the top 50 TSX venture exchange companies. What factors do you think contributed to this performance, and how do you plan to build on this success moving forward?
Well, look, I mean, Obviously, an award for 2024 is a bit like an Oscar for a film you did last year. So it's always really nice to get awarded it. But actually, this is about value going forward, in my opinion. And the way I think about that is pretty clear. So when we chatted earlier about the criteria we look for new facilities, if we build a facility that processes 80,000 tons using I always call this hand grenade math economics that we have in our investor deck, our base case facility of 40,000 tons kicks out a revenue of about $10 million and an EBITDA of about $5 million. If we're able to run with a night shift, doesn't cost any more capital. We just run the operations at night. Then that ends up, us being able to process 80,000 tons of shingles a year. And that, again, hand grenade math, roughly doubles the numbers. So 20 million of revenue and 10 million of EBITDA. And if you take a sort of a waste to value average multiple of 10, that means that every additional plant we add should, in theory, add an EV of about $100 million. Today, even with that great performance through 2024, we're currently valued at, 47.5 million Canadian, which is less than half a plant. And so if you think about that trajectory, the thing that I think is really important to us is, understand what the stock price is doing, of course, is important for a CEO, but it's building the value by plant by plant by plant by plant. As we demonstrate that to the market, with Calgary being the first, we believe there is spectacular upside and value as we roll these facilities out.
Yeah, well, it certainly sounds like there's a lot of growth potential ahead. Now, just lastly, Aidan, with the growing demand for sustainable solutions, what role do you see Northstar playing in the circular economy, particularly in the asphalt and construction industries over the coming years?
Well, look, one of Northstar's major investors is TAMCO, the US shingle manufacturer. So they've done the R&D that proves that the asphalt coming from a Northstar facility can go back into shingle manufacturing and therefore is 100% circular. So our proposal to municipalities, to governments, etc., is that we can come to your city, divert 80,000 tons of shingles away from your landfills, and stop those going into landfills and produce products that are 100% circular. So we have a massive fit because we have products that are coming out of our manufacturing facility that are actually demanded by industry. And so it's a phenomenal fit both for our products, but also for diversion away from landfill for something that would otherwise be going into landfill.
Certainly lots for investors to look forward to. Thank you so much for joining us today, Aidan.
Thanks, Mel, and thank you very much for the invite. Great to see you.